Welcome back, my book lover friends. How are you? Welcome for the first time, or welcome back. If you enjoy books and you enjoy someone talking to you about their books, then I totally suggest that you subscribe. And if you like what you see, you should give me a big like, because that's how this works. You know, like what you see, give a big like. La 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 la. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Today I'm going to discuss about books that I would like to finish by the end of the year. I'm not going to give like a TBR for November or a TBR for December. I just want to talk about books that I would like to finish before the end of the year is up. So far at this point of the game, October is almost over. And so far, I have read 118 books. By the end of October, which is only like, a week away, maybe even a week away, maybe like 5 days away. Can I get to 150 by the end of the year? I don't know. My goal was originally 80, and because last year I read 100, but like I said before in past videos, that I really had to really push myself to hit that 100 because I was new to Goodreads at that time, and so I was just like, I don't know how many I can read, and let's just see what happens. And when I realized closer to the end of the year that I was getting to 100, I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna get to 100 then. I realized that pretty late in the game, so pushing myself to read that many was a struggle, but I made it. Would I like to get to 150 for 1 year? Yeah, that would be great. Am I going to? Who knows? 30 books in 2 months, 15 books a month. And not only that, but I work in retail. November and December are the worst months for me, reading wise. I know that there's a lot of manga on my plate that I would like to get to, and usually that only takes me like a day to read one volume, which is considered a book, so I could get to 150. I'm not pushing myself though. The goal is 150-ish. I will be turning to this pile of books to be like, okay, let's pick up one of these books then, because this is a book that I would like to finish. So all these books are books from authors that I've already read. I read the first book, and so this is the next book that they've written, or it is continuing with the series of that book. The first one was Kristen Hanna. I read the first book, Firefly Lane, at the very end of the year last year. It was actually, I had read 101, 2021. And hey, look at that. I read 101, 2021. The one was Firefly Lane. I loved it. And so I have the second to that book, Fly Away. I really have no clue what this book is going to be about. I mean, other than it's got to do with Kate and Tully, who was in the first book. It was all about friendship and growing up together as two girls, being vastly different, and their lives being vastly different, and it was fun to read. I tried to watch the Netflix series of it. I hated it. I only watched like 2 episodes and I was done, because I felt like the two characters that I fell in love with in the book were not the same at the series. The things I enjoyed in the book were like being completely set differently in the series. For instance, just an example, maybe a little spoiler warning, but in the books, Kate is married, and there are just like any other marriage, there are dips and valleys, and in the end, in the book, they are together. They're married. They love each other. They have each other's back. And the very end of the book, they're not divorced. And I don't know how the series ends, so they're not together. I mean, they both exist, the husband and the wife, and at one point in time they were married, but they weren't together. I didn't like that at all already. So it was already starting off bad in my opinion. So there was that. So I didn't even finish the series. I didn't want my book experience to be ruined, vastly different, and so I was just like, I'm not watching this. So I didn't watch it, but I am gonna finish up, I guess you could call it the duology. I don't know if this was, if the first one was written knowing she was going to write the second one, or if the first one was written, it was so successful that she decided to continue the story. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Another book that I read last year, The House in the Silurian Sea, by T.J. Klune. I read that last year. I loved that book. By far one of the top 5, top 10. It was fantastic. So, question is the author fantastic, or was just that story fantastic? And so I picked up his book that just came out. Not just came out within but it's came out recently. Okay? We're just going to go with that. Under the Whispering Door. This is not a connection. I'm just, like I said before, it's just I want to see if this author is an author I'm going to love and want to pick up everything from, or if it was just that one story that I enjoyed so much. So apparently this is about a guy who dies, and it's like the aftermath, like his afterlife kind of thing. Well, that's all I need to know. Like I said, I'm testing out the author more so than wondering what the story is actually about. We'll see if he hits it off the park again with this book. Right now I'm doing a readathon for Halloween. One of the books that I am reading for that readathon is Jurassic Park. And so I'm loving the book a lot. Might as well just keep going and read the next one. So The Lost World is the next one after Jurassic Park. I don't know how much the movie, the second one of the series, is like the book, but I guess I'll find out. So I would like to continue the series and read the second book. I think this is the only other one. I don't think there's a third one. So the next one that I would like to get to is the second one in a duology at this point. Kings of the Wild came out with another book. The author came out with another one called Bloody Rose. And I'm assuming this follows the daughter. The first book is about a band of warriors who, it's almost like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of a storytelling. It's fantastic. It's hilarious. The humor in it is I'm not sure if this is a series, if it's going to become a series. Right now, these are the only 2 books. I'm assuming by the fact that there's a girl on the front of it, and it's Bloody Rose, that so in the first book, it's, like I said, it's a band of guys, and they go rescue one of the guys' daughters. And so I'm assuming that this is going to be about her. Like I said, I really enjoyed the humor in the first one, Kings of the Wild. So we'll see if Nicholas Ames continues doing a great job with the humor, because that was the number one reason why I enjoyed the first book. Another book that is a series that I started the first one and then just never continued was the Murderbot series, by Martha Wells. This is the second book of that series, Artificial Condition. The Murderbot Diaries is the name of it. Anyway, this is the second book of that series, and they're novellas, so it won't be hard to get to this and finish it off. But this book off, there's multiple in this series. All Systems Red was the first one. This is just following a AI who is programmed to pretty much be like a bodyguard or a protector of whatever he's been programmed to, people-wise, to protect. And he's got a personality. This one's got a personality, though. It's unheard of. But he has his own thoughts and feelings, and he really likes soap operas. So continuing with series, the next one that I want to talk about is the School for Good and Evil series. This is the third of the series. The first 2 I've already obviously read. The first one I read last year, and the second one I read this year. So I'm not really sure, like when I look into it, it looks like the next ones that are coming about are like a whole different timeline. There's a 4, 5, and 6th book, but I feel like it's not part of the story. I might, after this one, if that's the case, I might just end it with this one, but we'll see what happens. I liked the first one. I really liked the second one. So this is the third one, and it's about two girls and pretty much their friendship, and then it's like a little fantasy series. Sophie and Agatha. It's a school for good and evil, and when they get there, Sophie assumes that she's going to be in the school of good, and Agatha is meant to be in the school of evil. Plot twist, not really. Sophie goes to the school of evil, and Agatha goes to the school of good, and that's the beginning of the series. This is the third one, so I'm not going to tell you any more than that. Like I said, the first one was good, the second one was great, and so I'm hoping that this one is even greater. I know there's a series on Netflix of the first book, or no, I guess it's a movie, huh? Anyway, I'll probably get to that sometime. I definitely want to at least finish the third book. I'm definitely going to get to this before the end of the year. Oh, I hope to, at least. That's the whole point of this video, right? Is I hope to get to these books. So another thing that I'm trying to do is finish a challenge that Book of the Month has set forth. They come up with 3 things that you should do for the year, kind of like goals. I've already finished those 3, but then because I finished those 3, they're like, here's an extra secret goal for you. And it was read so many books of theirs that you have received. I only need to read 2 more. So for sure I'm going to read 2 more. And the 2 that I would like to get to Book of the Month that I've not gotten to yet would be Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is about apparently a story about a party, many different characters. It doesn't matter to me what it's about because I've read 2 of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I loved them. Daisy Jones and the Six, and The Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, 7 Husbands. I loved them both, so I don't feel like I need to know too much about this book going in. I'll just go in reading it knowing that I trust the author. So there's one. And then the other one I would like to get to Book of the Month wise is Breathless. So this is obviously to do with like snow in the middle of nowhere. The only thing I've got on here that I'm gonna say, because like I said, I don't want too much going in, so I usually don't even read the whole thing about what the book is about. But the thing says there's a killer on the mountain. One climber dies in what seems or assumes to be a freak accident, and then by the time a second climber dies, it's too late to turn back. So that's good enough for me. I'll read that. Yep. Plus, I love books where it's almost like people are stranded, whether it be in the woods or especially in the snow. Like, I just feel like snow vibes make it even more creepier. It just gives it that little bit more of oomph in the creep factor department. So I hope it like transports me there. We'll see. But that would finish the Book of the Month's goals. So, you know. Plus, you get like little things from them for free if you do the little goals. So I'm all about that. I'm all about free stuff. I'll do that. Sounds good to me. So the next one that I'm gonna try to go after is I read the first one of this author, Circe. So her second book, The Song of Achilles. If you haven't heard of this book, then maybe you're not watching booktubers, because I used to see this all over the place. This is not new news. This is not a book that is brand new by any means, but I haven't gotten to it yet, so here I am. Well, let's hope I get to it. I enjoyed Circe. I wasn't like over the moon by it, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the way she told the story, so hopefully I will enjoy this one. I was told that compared to Circe, this one is the better of the books, so we'll see how that goes. But I love the story of Achilles, so I mean, I feel like it can't go wrong, right? Another author that I read last year and enjoyed the book, The Ex-Hex. She came out with a sequel to that, The Ex-Hex, Aaron Sterling, The Kiss Curse. This is complementing the Ex-Hex. It's the same characters. The Ex-Hex is about a witch who gets dumped by a warlock, and she accidentally puts a curse on him. So when he comes back into the town, the curse is activated and all kinds of crap happens to the man. And so she's there to pretty much like reverse it because she didn't mean to do it in the first place. She was drunk. She thought she was just having a good time. She didn't realize what she was doing. She was trying to fix her mistake in the first one. I have no idea what they could possibly talk about in the second one, but I do know that I enjoyed that story. I liked the way the author wrote the story, and I will get to this. I'll probably get to this pretty quickly actually if I am going to read it this year because it's about a witch. This is the time of year to be getting to stories about witches. Once we hit closer to December, I'm not going to want to read about witches. I'm just not going to be in the mood. The mood of fall will be gone. So another sequel to a book. So I read One of Us is Lying this year. And so I'm going to continue with that. With One of Us is Next. This is a YA, I guess you could call it mystery thriller kind of books. In the first one, there are a bunch of high school students, all different personalities, are stuck in detention, and one of those students die, and they're trying to figure out what happened, because apparently there is foul play. So that's the first one. What's the second one about? I have no clue, but I liked the first one. Continue with the second one. Because, I mean, like, the first one ended. There was no, like, let's move on to the next book. So, I have no clue. It just says the sequel to One of Us is Lying. Let's go ahead and read this one next, shall we? And the final one that I want to get to before 2022 is over. This is a long series of novellas. The one that I haven't gotten to yet is Where the Drowned Girls Go by McGuire. And this is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the 7th book of the series. And so I really enjoy these books a lot. I like the ones where the world is introduced to you. A different world is introduced to you through a character more so than the actual school. So if you don't know what this is about, it's the Wayward Children series. And so it's about like, it's not exactly like about like Alice and Wonderland, or it's kind of like that though. Like you have all these kids that went to like a different world, whether they were taken there or whether they walked through a magical door and got there, whatever it is, they have now been like spit back out of that world, or, left but not really wanting to leave, kind of a situation. And they can't live in normal life again. It's just too hard. So this lady who's been through this before has started up a school for these kids to go to. These kids go to this school to like in hopes that their door comes back to them. It goes back and forth. So in one book, it's like one of those worlds and you exploring it with one of the characters. And then the next book is all these characters together at the school. This book is going to be about the school again. It goes back and forth, like it flip-flops back and forth. And the one before this is Across the Green Grass Fields, and that was definitely a world book. So this is going to be the school book, is what I like to call them, school world. What's going on at the school, what's happening at the school kind of situation. Like I said, I really, really like the books that involve like them in a world and them learning about that world. More so than I like the school environment ones. They're still good. It's just not as good. So, or at least in my experience thus far, it's not as good. But continuing the series, and since they're novellas, it shouldn't be too hard, right? And that's my last one, that I want to get to. Like I said, maybe I could get to 150 books. Maybe not. But these are the books that I would like to get to for sure by the end of the year. So I got 2 months. See how it goes. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.